This is Real Talk with Chris,
Julian,
and we have our special guest today, Rolando. Tell him what's up.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, guys, I'm super excited to be here. First of all, thank you guys, Chris and Julian, for allowing me to be here on this podcast with you guys.
No problem.
So I'm fired up. What you guys got?
We are extremely happy to have you here today. Mutual friend connected us, and I'm glad we are here today, and we're going to talk about real estate.
Absolutely. Let's
Perfect.
do it.
Let's start off with what you do. What's your purpose in real estate, and how did you get here to this point in your life?
Sure. Okay, so real estate actually wasn't my first plan.
Okay.
I went to FIU, Florida International University. I studied political science and international relations. That's actually how I met the mutual friend that connected us.
Great.
And through that path, I wanted to go into law school. That ended up not working out because I just found student loans to be too expensive. I didn't really want to dive into something that I didn't really find myself too passionate about. All the while in college, I was always in sales. I did retail sales for basically my whole life whenever I was doing jobs. And my mom owned a couple properties at the time, and she was dealing with a troublesome tenant, this like crazy old lady, and she was hoarding dogs.
It's the ladies, man.
Oh man, she was hoarding dogs.
No theory about that.
So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we wanted to evict her. We went through this whole crazy process because she actually knew the mayor of the local city. So we were trying to get the cops and the lawyers to evict her, but she went to law school. It was a mess.
Gotta get the sheriff involved too.
My mom was extremely stressed out about it, so she was like, I don't want to deal with any more tenants. She's like, I want to sell this place. And I had just gotten my bachelor's degree, so she tells me to get my license. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll get my license to sell the place. 2 months later, I finally get the license. I'm like, all right, Mom, let's put the property up for sale. And she's like, I don't want to sell it anymore.
How many years ago did you get your license?
I got my license at the end of 2015, so it was November of 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, and so at that point I was like, well, I got my license just to help you. Now I don't really know what to do with it. I might as well just hang my license somewhere.
Yeah.
So, I got a call from 100% brokerage. I went over there. Didn't really get much training. They were kind of just throwing me into the water, so I didn't really do much my first year. At that point, I was still kind of in the air about what I wanted to do with my career and my life. So one of my best friends actually mentioned to me that his older brother is a broker, and he was working on fixing and flipping homes. And he was moving into Keller Williams because they were showing him how to set up a team model, and he needed an agent to leverage his listings to create more business. So he thought of me. He offered me an opportunity as a buyer's agent on his team. I worked in that for 2.5 years. In my first year of real estate with Keller Williams, I sold 22 houses. The following year, I sold 21 with a higher sales volume. And then this past February in 2019, the team leader at our office. So what a team leader is I guess you would call it sort of like a manager, an office manager. But your job also consists of training, consulting, and recruiting people.
Right.
So they offered me that opportunity. I was already in a leadership position at the office because at Keller Williams, they have what's called an associate leadership council. So they pick like 10 members every year. So I was on that for 2 years. And then they offered me this position. And the funny thing about it was when he first offered it to me, he said, oh, this is an opportunity that's going to be coming like within 3 months. I just wanted to see if you were open to it. I was like, okay, cool. Well, yeah, I'm up for it. 3 days later, he sits me down in the office and he's like, hey, so this is happening a lot quicker than we thought. I'm leaving in 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
2-week notice. Quick
Right, so I just got thrown straight into
Perfect.
it. I'm about past what we call a 30, 60, 90, so I'm about to finish the 90-day graduation.
Nice.
Where hopefully, God willing, I assume the position as the full-time team leader of the office.
That's
awesome.
so exciting, man.
Yeah, man.
How old are you right now to let all our viewers know?
So I'm 26 years old. I've been in real estate technically for 3.5 years, though my first year of real estate, I don't really consider it a real year because I just had the license and I wasn't really doing anything with it. So really in real estate, 2.5 years.
Nice.
Okay, well that's awesome. Already
Yeah.
having a position as a team leader at such a big company like
Yeah,
Keller Williams.
thank
Congrats.
you.
Yeah, that's great. We talked a little bit before this, and I can really tell, you're a hard worker, you're passionate, and you're young, you're ready to go, man.
Yeah.
And that's super exciting.
Thank you.
So What kind of, I know you you do the sales and now you really focus more on the team strategies, but what's your favorite kind of experience in the whole real estate, I guess, industry or, career?
There's a few parts to it. So I'm a salesman at heart, so there's nothing like the high of closing a deal, right?
True.
You love, you're going through the fire when you have something under contract, you deal with the issues in inspection, the appraisal, the lender's conditions to approve the financing.
You get that C to C.
Yeah, man. So that whole experience, right, and then getting to the closing table after a really tough close after a really tough deal is the best feeling ever. Seeing your buyers or your sellers finally over everything. Right. That's awesome. However, I really found my calling in training and consulting and coaching agents. So while I was in the leadership council, I obviously had a leadership presence at the office, and there was a few agents that would come to me for help and guidance, and I was able to help them start growing their business. And then, I had a couple of conversations with people, and they told me things like, hey, that one conversation you had with me changed my life. So those sorts of conversations, I really started to find a passion for helping people in that sense. So then when I was presented with the opportunity, I just found it like a natural fit. I found it really a calling. And that's what helps me work so hard to it, because I see it more as a career and a passion than a job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We talk about that on here all the time, A job is when you don't exactly do everything that you do in a day, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you actually have a passion for something and actually want to put forth your best effort into being successful, it's got to be 24 hours. It's got to be something you eat, sleep, and breathe.
Yeah.
I say it a lot. When I'm not looking at real estate, I'm looking at real estate.
Yeah.
It's because it does. It fits into our life every day. And
it's fun. It's not like a struggle to have to wake up to go do
Exactly.
whatever each one of us respectively do in real estate.
Exactly. And there's so many different parts to real estate too. There's connections, there's actually, numbers, there's all different types of, or
different
aspects of business in real estate. You get all of it, you know what I'm saying? So it's really exciting, and I kind of wanted to ask you if you had any advice for someone that's looking to get into real estate or is looking to invest or help a family member out. What would you kind of say would be their best, I guess, rule of thumb or purpose to complete what they want to do in real estate?
So this really could transcend into any career that someone wants to go into. First things first, find out what we call at our company your big why. What's your motivation? What do you get out of bed every day to do? What do you want to achieve with the job and the money that you bring into your life, right? Because I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, I want to invest in real estate. Okay, well, you want to invest in real estate for what, right? You're just going to bring in money, or is that money going to do something for you and your family? Okay, so what is it going to do for you and your family, right? Are you looking to leave a legacy? What is the thing that really drives you to work? And once you have that figured out, really dive into systems and stay consistent on what you got to do. The reason why I was able to have success so quickly was because I understood the concept of lead generation, which is, getting on the phones or getting on the streets, getting face-to-face and building relationships with people or getting appointments, and also following a schedule, right? I really developed the concept of time blocking, which is something that the company stresses a lot. There's a book called The One Thing that was published by Keller Williams that basically focuses people on time blocking, being organized, and building habits, right? Because people tend to think that people are more disciplined than others, and what I believe and what the company believes is if you start with small habits and you build those small habits, you can naturally grow more and more habits. Right. For example, so I thought the number one habit that I needed to build was every day I needed to build the habit of getting on the phones. Well, I went really deep into myself and started asking myself questions, and before I even focused on my business, I needed to focus on my mind, right? The mindset. What is the vision? What is the energy? What are the thoughts that are coming out of you that you're letting out into the universe? So I focused a lot on meditation at first. Now, I've heard people say, meditate for 30 minutes a day. I mean, have you guys tried meditating for 30 minutes a day?
Sounds like a long time.
Right?
I'm doing nothing for 30 minutes.
Nothing for 30 minutes, just sitting completely still. So that was way too hard. So I had to start really small, and I started with 3 minutes a day. I built that habit up to 5 minutes, and then now I meditate for 10 minutes every morning.
Wow.
Now, if I would have started with 10 minutes, there's no way I could have built that habit. So again, starting really small, and then doing what they call in the book a 66-day challenge. The book being the one thing. Where you do something for 66 days straight, because that's what researchers say will help you solidify a habit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so stay consistent, find your passion, and really I would say don't be afraid also to lead generate. You know, I feel like a lot of realtors wait for business to come to them. So there's two types of lead generation, right? There's the passive lead generation and there's the proactive. Passive being you're doing marketing, you're putting out ads, you're putting out things for people to call you, and you're waiting for the call. Proactive being you're hitting the phones, you're getting out on the streets, you're going to events, you're getting face-to-face or on the phone with people.
Right.
Both will bring you business. Proactive lead generation will just bring you more.
Right.
And though it does take some more drive, that's why I say it's important to find your motivation, right, before you dive into it, because it's hard.
Right.
It's really hard.
It
you know,
is.
getting rejected all the time is not an easy thing, but as long as you understand it's a numbers game, and
the more people you hit, the more people
you'll eventually get a yes.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, I think I agree with consistency. I also like to use the word persistence a lot.
Absolutely.
It's just keep doing something over and over, no matter the outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it does you bad, try it again.
Yeah.
If it does you good, keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really important. And then also what you said about the proactive. You know, I think it's important to do the push and pull kind of marketing and.
And one thing too, follow up. Right?
That's true.
Follow up is really important. Right?
Absolutely.
Follow up and follow through.
A lot of people forget about that.
A lot of people forget about that. I mean, I'll give you guys an example. Towards the end of 2016, a guy called me off of one of my for sale signs saying he wanted to sell a property. I was like, great. And then all of a sudden he goes missing. I start calling him, I keep calling him, he doesn't answer, I'm keeping calling him, and then I swear it happened like at least 3 times where I was like, I don't want to call this guy anymore, but something just kept telling me to call him back. Now this was at the end of 2016. I kept following up with him every few months, giving him a call just to check in and at least see if he could somehow give me a sign of life. And once in a while he'll say, oh yeah, when I'm ready I'll let you know. Finally, December of 2018, more than 2 years later, I'm still following up with this guy. He finally says, Rolando, I'm ready to sell my properties. And oh, by the way, I have a portfolio of properties that I'm looking to sell.
Wow.
That if you do well on these, you're my guy. And luckily right now we have the first property under contract and he's building some new constructions that my team is going to be working on for him.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Do you have some kind of system that you use to follow up with these people?
So what I was using previously is I had a CRM called Market Leader, which Keller Williams provided us. And then I used that with a combination of my Google Calendar. However, now recently in February, Keller Williams launched a new technology where everything's centralized on a platform. So you have your calendar, you have your CRM, you have your pipeline, everything in one place. So now, for example, on that thing, I can set up reminders and there's like a task manager section on the program where I can literally see what I have to do on a daily basis. So it's helping me be more efficient, right? And that's really key because us as agents, when we don't have the right tools, sometimes we'll write things on a notebook or we'll put our contracts on an Excel sheet. Like me, for example, I was putting my whole pipeline on an Excel sheet. I ran my schedule off of Google Calendar, and then I had my CRM in all kinds of different places, like Market Leader, but I kept some notes on Google Calendar, and I also kept some notes on paper. Right? So when you centralize all those things and everything is all being interchanged on a platform, it helps you become more efficient.
Right. The power of technology.
The power of technology, man.
You got to use it more, especially the calendars.
Absolutely.
People forget to use that stuff.
Yeah.
They just write it down. Like, I have an appointment at that time. They don't realize you don't have enough time to go from Brickwood to Hialeah in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good luck in this town. Yeah.
And I used to put everything like right under each other. I think that I could just knock out that perfect day. Right?
Back to back.
Yeah. You get one accident on the Palmetto, you're 30 minutes late for the rest of the
That's
day.
right, man. That's right. That throws you off. That throws you off.
Man, that's funny. Well, that's great. I think you're an awesome guy. You have passion.
You guys are amazing too.
Thank
I love
you,
what
man.
you guys are doing.
So that's great. I I think you're gonna continue doing well, and I wish you the best with everything that's gonna happen on the team, and I wish you great success.
Thank you.
But let's start off the podcast with some news.
Sure.
Everyone loves basketball, right?
Okay.
One of the most famous players ever,
Michael Jordan.
Can't believe, how tall is this guy?
I think he's 6'6".
Really? He's not over 7 feet, right? He's pretty close to it, though.
When he stands on his money, he is.
Yeah.
He's like 8 feet.
That's funny. Yeah.
So wait, who do you think is better? Before we start off the podcast, who do you think is better, LeBron or Michael Jordan?
Dude.
Okay.
So different factors, right? When we say who think is better, all around skill set. I mean, a guy who can play anything from the 1 through the 5, LeBron.
Yes.
But when we're talking about a guy with an absolute killer instinct, like that competitive drive where he will lead his team to victory no matter what they're facing, you got to give it to Michael Jordan, man.
So if you were to start a team right now, you could pick one of these two guys in their prime, obviously. Who would you pick? Michael Jordan or LeBron?
I grew up in the era of LeBron, man, but I recognize great leaders and I recognize people who can basically drive a team and motivate everyone to win and be the leader to drive the win, and I'd have to go with Michael Jordan, man.
What about you, Chris?
If I was the team owner, I'd go with the cheapest one.
That's true.
They're both great. I think they both have great skills, but
whoever gets me the highest return on investment.
Yeah.
That's so funny. No, yeah. Well, speaking of return on investment, Michael Jordan has done very well in basketball, but one asset that has been struggling is his home in Chicago. It's been for sale for over 6 years. What is the asking price on this place? Do you know?
Well, they started off at $29 million. They're down to somewhere around $14 million.
Oh my
gosh. Been on the market
gosh.
for 6 years. His house has 56,000 square feet.
56,000 square feet.
Yeah,
how big is his family?
7 acres.
Yeah, well, I'm not. He's got his own basketball court in there. You know,
he has a golfing setup, some type of golf course.
You could go missing in that house.
Yeah, I think you could. And to be honest, he's a tall guy. He's got a custom fitted the doors and everything, and it's just crazy to think, someone of that, level in sports history is not someone that just goes out there and says, "Hey, I need that." You know what I'm saying? This guy, based his career and continued it in this house. How can I be a part of that?
Well, they say the biggest problem with the house is that it's too personalized for Michael Jordan.
Huh.
Everywhere you walk in, every door has like a 23 or an MJ or something.
If everything was too personalized to Michael Jordan, then why does he have $1 billion shoe company? That's what I want to know. Think about it. People beg to wear Jordans. You know what I'm saying? And when this house goes for sale, no one wants it. Kind of blows my mind. You know?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful house. Beautiful house.
What I always believe too is the price.
Yeah.
Right? If it's not selling something, the price isn't right. The price isn't justified. And also, what happens with product on the market is once it sits on the market for too long, it gets stale in the buyer's eyes, right? If he would have priced it 6 years ago at what he's priced it now, 14,
right?
Most likely he would have sold it.
Yeah.
Right? But now what's happened is because it's been out on the market for so long, 6 years, no one's buying it. I mean, psychologically, that creates, like a stale look in the buyer's eyes. They're kind of like, okay, if no one's bought it in 6 years, why should I buy it? And if I'm going to buy it, I'm going to make them a really low offer.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just super interesting.
I would really want to know how many offers they've gotten and at what price.
Right.
Yeah.
I really want to know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's something interesting.
But, it is a part of sports history,
Sure.
and he's done very well, and it's in Chicago. It's in the suburbs.
It's in the suburbs of Chicago.
That might be another thing too,
If we're on Star Island, I would have. I'm sure it would sold.
Yeah, it would be the entire island.
One thing I'm thinking about too is if he would have taken out the personal touches, right? How much would that cost?
Right, that's another thing.
How much would that cost, and how much would he have saved by doing that in the beginning before he put it out on the market?
Right.
I mean,
and who knows? Maybe he has gotten offers, and maybe he's literally said, "I don't want a penny less than this number because I'm Michael Jordan." You know what I'm saying?
But then 6 years later, he's dropped his price $15 million.
And he's got to pay $100,000 in property taxes every year.
Michael, if you need a realtor, call me, man. I got you.
Man, yeah, that's
maybe
great.
you just gotta switch real estate companies.
Yeah, I feel bad for the realtor if he's been on that for 6 years. I'm sure there's probably been a few of them, but
I wonder if that listing ever expired. Like, did Michael Jordan get calls at 7:00 in the morning from agents? How funny would that be?
That'd be hilarious. No, yeah, I think it's funny. We like to look at the celebrity news for real estate. Another thing that we saw come on the market is, and a lot of people know who this is, who are 90s kids, or was it 80s? No, I'm just gonna say 90s and 2000s.
Well, 90s kids saw it.
Right.
It was in the 80s.
Oh, it was? Okay. Well, Full House is what we're talking about. It's a great family show. It was on ABC Family Network. So the house there has been listed for sale by one of the producers of the show. He purchased it in 2016 for $4 million.
What's he asking now?
And he's now asking $6 million. And so he bought it back in 2016 because that's when they were starting to get the idea to recreate the Netflix series, which is Fuller House, which includes hold on, what's her name? Her name is like Lindsay, one of the mom in the show. She's been under some backfire recently. So it was someone. Hold
it was
on,
DJ Tanner.
No, yeah, but I mean, it's San Francisco. Have you ever been to San Francisco?
No, I'm actually going this summer.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's beautiful over there.
It's amazing.
The market is absolutely it's booming over there. I could see why, he's asking $2 million over why, he's when he bought it, and so it's just incredible, So. We like to bring some more features about celebrities on the show, and the Full House we think everyone can kind of connect with. So
Full House.
It wasn't the interior shots; it was just the exterior.
If it were like the Full House set like that we see on TV, I think it would be such an easy sell.
Yeah. If they actually shot inside there, but it's just the exterior.
The inside of the house is probably completely like different.
So they don't have photos of the inside.
They do.
Okay.
They do. Well, not on the show. Just
Okay.
Like the show uses like a random set.
Okay.
Yeah, so they just had like rolling shots of the outside and stuff, but I mean, still, it's pretty cool.
It's just like when you turn on Fuller House, it shows like the outside.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I mean, it's a 4.4. It's got like 3,700 square feet. It's a pretty big house. It's not bad, you know what I'm saying? I mean, California is a different market out there, but it is useful. It's not like a brick little apartment around here where people have a hard time with that, So
yeah,
you got the 25% occupancy around here.
But speaking of occupancy, let's talk about the vacancy rates right now in office. The office category of real estate right now it's been doing great. Office has a really low supply right now, which is great, which means people are buying it and using it. And they say a big factor is these people because last few years there's been a lot about apartments.
Right.
Now those people they got to work somewhere, and the employment rate is so low right now that everyone's working. So they need an office. Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, unemployment rate. Yeah, well that too. Everyone's working. Yeah. So it's really interesting to see. There was an article published that says there's a lot of things happening in office, and it looks very promising in the future.
I think that's a very good sign for the economy if businesses are filling up all these offices all the time.
Right.
I mean, it would be bad if all these office buildings were empty. Another factor I see is that they keep on busting up residential buildings and no new office buildings.
Right.
Like look around here in Miami. Every day they're putting up new residential buildings. These people that move into here gotta work somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're not making them.
Right.
But what I think we've talked about it before in the past is that these co-working spaces are coming out too. Like
exactly.
WeWork. That's a really cool concept to be in right now.
Of course.
And those are occupied too.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, WeWork, for example, right here in Brickell is
right out there.
Yeah.
They're crushing it. They're doing really well.
I was talking to someone earlier this week, and the thing that WeWork has done, and every business has to do this, is taking something and just making it more efficient for the consumer. Mm-hmm. So you take something that you have to purchase, you take something that you have to rent for a year, you take something that you have to rent for a month, then you take something that you have to rent for a week. Right. And that's what WeWork has done, that's what Uber has done, that's what Airbnb has done. All of those companies have scaled it down and said, okay, you guys can get it for by the day, by the hour, by the minute, and it has expanded their returns beyond.
That's how WeWork was able to get a lot of money to entice people, saying that you don't have to sign a 12-month lease with us. You can be with us and move out in a month.
Right.
But they are very expensive. Like, I had someone in their client that I got from there. He was renting about a room this big. What is it, like 200 square feet? He's paying about $3,500 a month.
Wow.
I got him an office in Brickell, also in Brickell, walking distance from Brickell City Center, because he used to live in Solitaire. I think it was 1,200 square foot office or $2,700.
Right. And, you know, we talk about that too. It's just like Uber. It makes more sense to drive, but at the end of the day, you know, maybe you don't want to, you know, go get your car in the parking garage, or, you know, there's tolls or something like that. Uber's always going to be more expensive than driving in most circumstances, but people, you know, sometimes it just makes more sense.
Whatever's more convenient sometimes.
Right, more convenience.
And another thing about WeWork in terms of the value proposition is the community aspect, right?
Absolutely.
Networking.
You can talk to other professionals.
Business owners. Exactly, and grow your network from there.
Have you ever been inside a WeWork office? They're actually very cool.
I actually haven't. I have a friend of mine, Anna, she works in WeWork. And she's told me all about it. I actually had a friend who used to work in another shared space, and I got to see that. So all those types of companies and systems have a big community aspect, right? So like they have like, you know, a little kitchen area, they have a play area, they have, you know, gyms.
Sometimes. I hear they sell beer too. I think that's great. That would work well in this apartment. But I think WeWork is expanding a lot, and you know, companies are finding out ways to start these co-working spaces. I hear about there's even like a few rappers that were investing in these co-working spaces. So I mean, a lot of people are, you know, taking notice of it.
WeWork started the name, but there's a lot of other good companies that are affordable.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, WeWork just started investing in Wynwood. They're on South Beach. I think they're down in the Gables, too.
They got 2 offices in the Gables.
Doral, they're heading out there.
They're expanding fast. Right?
Yeah. So they're doing a really good job with everything there. But let's kind of move into more like land. Let's talk a little bit more about land. And opportunity zones. We're bringing this back up. We've talked about the concept of opportunity zones and kind of the regulations or you know, why people do them, which is, you know, to achieve more advantageous tax climates for your return. But really right now, Miami and South Florida and a lot across the world, the United States is seeing this advantageous program. It's one of the most talked about real estate programs right now. And there's millions of dollars heading towards this program over the next, you know, year or two while it's still in effect. It could end, you know what I'm saying?
Can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah, so there was an article published this past week of about an almost $6 million opportunity zone that was being invested in Overtown. It was about 72 units. They purchased it with financing, so they only had to put about $1 million or $2 million down.
That's a very good thing about opportunity zones.
Exactly.
Banks want to finance.
Exactly. And, you know, since we're talking about the investment right now, you know, the initial investment that these people are putting in is all capital gains. It's all profit. And if they completely reap the benefits of, you know, investing in an opportunity zone, waiting 10 years, and keeping that money put before you know, develop it or sell it off, whatever you do, you're seeing about 30 to 40% return on your return because you're not paying taxes and that money is staying put.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting how they work. There was some news this past week about a small development company in Coral Gables that was also investing in about a $50 million opportunity fund. They had 2 deals going on right now. They invest a lot in hotels. This isn't just land, you know what I'm saying? This is economically distressed properties that are clarified in the system. There's about 18,000 parcels of land that are available under the opportunity zones.
The tax advantages are a plus, but it's all about making money.
Right.
Bingo.
There you go.
Right.
Makes sense. Yeah. And what's the purpose of these, you know, tax plans if you're not making money?
Right.
You know, so that's
if you're not making any money, there's no taxes to be worried about.
Exactly.
Right.
And I mean, you're talking about waiting 10 years.
Yeah.
To avoid those taxes. So.
Exactly. That's, you know, a lot of things can happen.
I'm not saying that the
happen in
opportunity
10
zones
years.
are bad, but
No.
you can't just only focus on finding an opportunity zone.
Exactly.
Which some of these guys are, I think they're confused and they are doing.
Yeah.
But
well, you know, there's also people who just have a lot of money, a lot of wealth,
right,
that just need to put it somewhere, you know, and they don't want to pay taxes on it, and obviously the interest that they're getting from bank accounts isn't getting them any return.
Exactly.
But they were putting into an investment that would make them more money.
Absolutely.
Right. Better.
Yeah, true.
So I think, you know, what you said is very good. Mm-hmm. You know, I think if you have people that are making money, investing it, and then also using the tax advantages, that's your trifecta right there.
That would be perfect.
That would be perfect.
Right.
So there's a company, Related Group, very big in Miami, big in New York, big across the country, big in development. You've dealt with them before on rental. Right, and so they're investing in about a $250 million opportunity fund. They have about $143 million right now that they've accepted, and they're basically just taking all their profits and putting it in this fund and just kind of, you know, putting it away. And well, I'm sure obviously, you know, they're developing property right now. You know, they're selling property, they're making money. So you're getting kind of that trifecta. But for someone to just focus on that and make that a career, it's kind of tough. You know what I'm saying? So,
only investing opportunities. That's
right.
It's about making the money.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So you got to make the money first, and then you know, figure it out from there. But that's really interesting. You know, you got both sides of the argument there.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I was talking to my accountant recently because obviously everyone knows the tax deadline was April 15th. So I was talking to him. I was like, man, what I got to pay so much taxes? And he was like, be happy you got to pay a lot of taxes because that means you made good money. He was like, my dream is to pay $1 million in taxes. That's what he was telling me, because that means I made a lot of money if I have to pay $1 million in taxes.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people think about, all right, I want to make $1 million. Other people think about, I want to pay $1 million in taxes.
Making a lot more than $1 million.
That's crazy. That's
what he was telling me. That's his dream.
That's really cool. Dream. I think I just changed it up right there. But you know, it's crazy the amount of tax advantages that are being involved into real estate right now. You know, the opportunity zones were a part of the Trump tax plan in 2017. So it's been evolving. And you know, people will say this is about as good as it gets with this real estate program. They're really not sure if there's going to be an opportunity zone 2.0 is what I'm saying is, you know, well, they don't know if they'll ever see this kind of program be involved in real estate ever again, because it's just, you know, it can be very lucrative for the right people. You know what I'm saying?
And there's certain like guidelines and stuff that you have to meet. Like you can't cash out on your investment for 5 to 10 years,
right? Depending
on what it is. So it's not as easy as people make it seem. But
and also we talked about this too. What do the people do after? You know what I'm saying? You know, there's people out there that this is extracting and adding value to a distressed community, right? So you're trying to create small business growth, create development, and what are you going to do with it? Are you going to focus on more affordable plans, which Miami needs, but a lot of people are starting to do the luxury aspect, and you're saying that they were placing a limit on the caps on these?
Yeah, I was working with someone. They were telling me that it was a Wynwood community actually, and that you can't make over $32,000 to live there. It was
in an opportunity zone?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
That's what the developer, I guess the city had told them, or the IRS, someone told them that they can't.
It's the IRS that's behind this, you know? Yeah,
so for a 1-1, you can't make over $32,000. For the entire, like if it's a couple, you can't make $32,000 combined.
Wow.
So you got to be right on that limit to live in there.
And this in Wynwood?
It's in Wynwood.
Interesting.
That's
very
cool,
affordable
though.
renting.
Yeah,
I think it's like
a balancing act, man.
Yeah, because I mean, what tends to happen too is a lot of people. I mean, the fact of the matter is, a lot of these areas, Wynwood, you know, even also Liberty City now is going into having a lot of development happening, right? So what's happening is people are getting pushed out, and they really don't have anywhere to go. You know, people are moving to the extreme south in the Homestead area or in the north Lauderhill area. You know, it's like, and they've traditionally lived in these communities. I mean, you think about a place like Liberty City, it's got a lot of tradition with African Americans in that area. And, you know, I worked a lot in that area. I've been seeing the change now, because what's happening is you've got Wynwood in the south, you've got Hialeah to the west, and you've got Biscayne and the whole popping area, Miami area right there on the right. And what's happening is those areas are getting really expensive. So everyone is now pushing into
going
the
out
middle of the
west,
city.
kind of,
exactly.
you know what I'm
just
saying?
kind of pushing those people out. So I think it's great that the government is putting in policies like that to help those sort of people.
It's still gentrifying, like you're still making it look nice, but you're still offering someone affordable housing, like the rental.
Exactly.
You can't make $100,000 to live there.
Now,
but it's nice living though. It's very nice.
Now that all we have the information for is like you said, like a 1-1. Now, you know, people can build 2 to 3 bedrooms, and that might double or triple the amount that you can make per unit.
So for 3-2, maybe it's $50,000.
Yeah, and you know that's I mean, I'm not a developer, but that's still profitable for a developer, but also doesn't, you know, there's no
because you're cutting out that 30% of capital gain.
Right.
That's where they're making money. So they make extra 30.
Yeah. They're already taking advantage of something they don't need to make anymore. Is what the government is saying for this type of program. So it's really interesting on how these programs work, you know. And but yeah, Julian, do you have any more information about any information about the rents or anything happening in Miami?
I was looking at an article today. It was really interesting to me. The top 5 neighborhoods in Miami that have like the highest rental increases in the last quarter. Obviously we have Brickell always in there, South Beach, all these people, Fort Gables, you know them, the expensive areas. But one of the areas that's not usually in there, that's in there now, is the Dayland area in Kendall. Rental prices have gone up there like 7%, which is a big deal there. I think it's a nice area. I've been down there. They have like a nice like mall. Like it's almost kind of like a mini Brickell city center.
They have one of my favorite restaurants, Pub Belly. Shout out Pub Belly. It's right over there. I actually almost moved over there. Gotta meet the Rubaie magic number, but that didn't take place. But Dadeland, I think, is a really cool area. The mall there is great.
I like it. But what's crazy is that it's one of the only areas on that list that's so like centralized. It's not nowhere near any type of water. Gables is near water. Brickell's near water. South Beach is near water.
That's a good point.
That is a really good point.
That's the only place that's like inland, kind of like suburbish.
Right. And here's the thing: I can take this train right over here straight to Dadeland. It's still connected. You know what I'm saying? This underline project that they're working on right now, which they're doing great with. Hopefully they finish this one pretty soon over here. But it's gonna go 10 miles all the way down to Dadeland.
Right.
So I mean,
you can live in Dadeland and work in Brickell and
not pay the Brickell price,
and not even have to get a car.
Yeah, not have to get a car. So you're saving a couple $100 a month.
Yeah, because Brickell is also, a very walkable city. It's
highest walkability.
If you work in Brickell, best shot is to live in Brickell.
Yeah.
And if you don't work in Brickell, maybe it's not a good idea to live in Brickell. Right? Because that rush hour traffic, especially to get into your building or find parking, is tough.
Yes.
Right.
I agree. No, yeah, and the underline project is going to do that. It's aiming towards creating a more walkable city that's safer.
Which is good. I like that. I mean, especially with those, what do they call those little scooters now? Birds?
The birds.
Those have been showing up.
The birds are back, baby.
Those are good. And they're
I'm
fast.
excited. Dude, those things rip. I've gotten one of those up to about 21 miles an hour. Those things rip down a hill. Oh, yeah.
You got a DUI
that bridge right there.
Those?
I think you can. Don't be doing any...
I was always worried about those here in Miami just because of the drivers. I mean, let's be honest,
I think it's still very...
It's like Mario Karts out here.
Yeah, I think it's still very prominent in their decision. Yeah. They were gone for a while, and I believe they've settled it in court. There's certain places where you can't put the scooters.
Yeah, mostly in the Gables, Brickell, and downtown.
Yeah.
Do they have them in the Wynwood area too?
They should.
I'm not sure. I don't think they do that.
I think I might have seen them, but hey, I think it would be a good idea there too. That's a pretty walkable sector.
Yeah.
Well, Edgewater is also. They have some over there for sure.
Yeah. And they're really attacking, these companies like Lime, Bird, Lyft, Uber is even a part of the movement now with these scooters.
Yeah, they're on Uber now, right?
Like we said, taking something and scaling it down to the minute, and that's what they've done with the scooters. They gotta charge these things. They gotta be basically bomb-proof. I mean, these people are. I know when I get one, I'm going hard on this thing. I
don't trust the Miami drivers like that.
Imagine Miami drivers now have scooters.
Yeah. I mean, around here you get a lot of scooters. You really do.
Yeah.
A lot of people that use them, and motorcycles too. It's really interesting. But now people can sell their cars and just take a scooter to work.
Save a lot of money, save a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And they can get a bigger apartment in Brickell.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that we said in one of my classes was there's a gentleman there who's a county planner. He's a very nice guy. He was telling us he forfeited his car payment to pay towards his rent amount in Brickell because that's just something that he wanted to do. And obviously that's very diligent budgeting skills. And good for him for doing that. But that's another thing is thinking about getting rid of that car payment. It's a lot of stuff, man. Right. And, there's a lot of dangerous things that can happen out there. My car's in the shop right now. So, I mean, things just happen in life where, it makes a little bit more sense to kind of scale down and work with what you got. So
True.
Yeah.
It's very
I
interesting.
think it's good. I mean, a lot of people, especially around the Brickell area, they could pay $500, $600, $700 a month for their car.
Right.
Put that towards a condo and rent or mortgage. That's a lot bigger condo.
Yeah.
You get an extra bedroom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, so now you want to move on to talking about iBuying?
The big topic that everyone's probably waiting for. I mean, not probably, they are waiting for this. We've talked about it a little bit, but we want to really expand on it. And also we have our man here who's going to talk about the iBuying experience and the differences that we've seen so far with it. And I think it's just crazy how you can go on your phone and sell your house. I don't know how long it takes, but sell your house on your phone.
It's that easy. Man.
Yeah,
it's not like listing a pair of shoes on eBay.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So it's a lot more complicated than just putting it out and then Zillow saying we'll make you an offer, for example. So there's a few companies right now that I think about that are really working on the iBuying platform. You've got Zillow, which actually recently redesigned their website. If you go into Zillow.com and then click the sell a home option, the biggest thing that they're promoting is Zillow offers.
Yeah.
Also Opendoor, which has been doing it for a while, and they actually just got a lot of funding from, was it SoftBank, the company, the bank that just gave them funding to continue doing it. So Zillow, for example, when you go in to sell your property, they make you fill out a 50-something questionnaire. Basically all your personal information, everything about the house, and then from there, they determine whether or not they want to make you an offer. OfferPad is another company, for example. And the conversion on those has been surprisingly really high. Like, it's been about 80% of people who take that quiz end up finishing it. And the interesting thing is, though, they're not buying a lot of the properties.
Okay.
They actually did some research. So in Phoenix, actually, Zillow has developed a full-blown real estate company. So they have their real estate license. They're practicing real estate. And over there, they're doing the iBuying. And they have...
Over the phones, right? They're not actually seeing the houses in person?
No. Everything's done through the internet,
right?
And people take pictures and all of that. Basically, there was 22,000 people who filled out the questionnaire, or 20,000 people who filled out the questionnaire, and they only bought 200 of those houses.
Right.
Okay.
So that's actually only 1% of everyone who did the questionnaire.
Yeah.
Now, this is what we're theorizing at Keller Williams is, and something to think about, right, is they had 20,000 people fill out a 50-something questionnaire. They only bought 200. So what are they doing with the other 19,800 results?
They're taking a loss on it. You want to know why? Well,
okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so Zillow last year, I'm sorry, not Zillow, Redfin came in and they bought around 700 properties. You know, back then, that was a lot. This is an infant idea back then in 2018. And so, out of those 700 properties, most of them took a loss. So the CEO said, at the time, interest rates were increasing, and he said, if interest rates would have kept going up and the housing market would have kept going down, then they would have been in a very tight squeeze. Yeah. And it's interesting to think about, where does this inventory go that they bought it? And, I understand that they sell it, but you have a little bit more insight about what they do with it, right?
Well, Redfin, what they're trying to do is cut out buyer's agents, which is interesting to me because I actually got a contract this morning with Redfin. I'm the buyer's agent on there.
Oh, wow.
And so they're the broker for it?
They're the listing broker, but what they want to do is cut out buyer's agents, only making the sellers pay them 2% for everything. Right. So they want to get the buyers themselves, making them like submit offers online. I read an article saying with this, like, it's kind of like Zillow instant offers. Basically, they just ask a bunch of questions. I think they converted like 5 out of 187 of them.
Yeah.
In one city. It was somewhere up north. It wasn't in Florida. And I mean, I don't think it's going to work out for them just trying to cut buyer's agents out, because first of all, you cut off a lot of the buyers, because buyers agents have a lot of buyers they work with, and they're not going to show listings that they don't get paid money on.
Right.
So here's the interesting part. Going back to that thing about the 20,000 people who filled out the questionnaire. So those 200, right? The ones that they actually bought and are going to sell. You're right. It's not extremely profitable.
Yes.
They're making their money on those other 19,800 people, because what they're doing is they're capturing that data, and then they're saying these are 19,800 leads.
Yes.
These are people who want to sell.
We talked about the advertisements.
So they're selling it back to premier agents.
Okay.
Now here's the scary part, is Zillow has already developed a full-fledged real estate company in Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's their goal.
Right.
They're looking to develop a full-fledged real estate company that turns agents into employees of the technology. So I'll share with you guys something. Did you know that the owner of Zillow was also the guy who created Expedia?
Yes.
Cut out travel agents.
We talked about it on the last podcast.
Right. So now...
We're not going to let that happen though.
Right.
No.
He's doing the same thing with Zillow. So what concerns me, and what we were talking about earlier, is... I mean, there's a statistic that comes out from the NAR that only 8% of clients use the same realtor twice or for repeat business, right? That's a national statistic. The reason why that happens is because most agents don't focus on the follow-up and follow-through and maintaining a relationship through people.
Right.
In other words, they're not maintaining a system with their database to keep in touch with them. So once they close the transaction, they pretty much forget about them, right? So then if the technology is constantly offering people value, like, hey, we'll buy your home, hey, you can come here to check out the value of your property and things like that, where do people start drifting?
Right.
But don't you agree that listing your property rather than selling it directly to Zillow will be more profitable for the sellers?
Absolutely.
Because Zillow has to have a cushion in between what the property is worth and what they're actually buying, because they don't know. They're buying it basically sight unseen.
Well, there's a minimal profit margin on it. It's about 5% from the research I've done. And yes, they would make more money listing it. However, there's some sellers out there that aren't concerned about making more money. They're more concerned about selling it in less time.
Yep.
Exactly. And that's where Zillow captures those market share, because there's sellers out there that say, I need to sell my home in a week.
Yeah.
You know? And there's no one faster that's going to get it done than someone who says, here's an offer for your house now.
That's true. Like someone going into foreclosure. But
exactly,
for the average seller, the majority of the market,
yeah,
I think they'd definitely be better off using the more conventional route, using a listing broker.
Well, I mean, I would agree with you. I think you're absolutely right. Though we can agree that some sellers have different reasons for why they need to sell, and sometimes time is the biggest factor, and that's why they choose to do that. There's also some people who don't like to deal with showings, mm-hmm. right? I mean, if anyone's ever tried to sell a home, showing a property isn't the most fun thing to do.
Right. It's also became very dangerous. You know, this is something that's happening, you know, when you have an open house, you know, everything is there. All of your personal belongings are out. One of the big things that a lot of people are worried about is when people come in and they have these cameras placed everywhere and they see people taking their things and leaving because their house is open.
Well, you got to make sure all your valuables are put away. You know?
Right, of course. But you'd be surprised. People will just take a picture frame or
and here's the thing, too. You know, it's
cologne bottle.
How easy is it to get a real estate license?
Yeah,
right?
They have to make it a little bit more difficult, I think.
Yeah. I mean, some agents, just the fact of the matter is, and it's not their fault, sometimes they're with the company or they lack the training, or the company doesn't offer it to be able to train them on saying, hey, this is how you manage a listing. This is what you should be telling your seller. Because sometimes people just say, oh, you want to list your property? How much? They don't even give them comparables. Oh, okay, great. Here, sign the agreement. I'll take pictures, and then we're going to sit on the market and watch it and wait until someone makes an offer.
Yeah, it's really not the agent's fault themselves.
Yeah.
It's just the brokerage that they came up with.
It's the system, yeah.
Not having the proper education to do business correctly, be professional.
Yeah.
Which I think right now is a big problem in real estate. There's not that many professionals.
You're
a lot of realtors are getting a bad rep.
Yes.
There's a big difference.
It's gotten a little bit better recently.
Huge difference in these brokerages, right? So you have You have, these big companies like you mentioned, 100%.
Yeah.
That just throw you out there. Then you have places like Keller Williams or One Sotheby's that tries to train you, and they'll take a little bit off, but I mean, they'll train you, and that's how you gather experience.
That's how you learn.
And that's why maybe there shouldn't be a deviation. Maybe there should just be one flat rate. And that's how you kind of centralize this whole theory of, I'll get my real estate license and make a ton of money. But it's not always like that. Most people don't even make a deal in their first year.
And the thing too, absolutely. And the thing is too about iBuying, like people think that they're saving on the commission, but the fact of the matter is that they're paying fees around the same. I mean, OfferPad, for example, charges a 7% service fee.
Oh.
How much is your commission to list the property? And you're cool with doing that? It's like, okay.
And that's something that I read an article that outlined that, and that is the profit margins are thinning for sellers. And, people just really don't see the value in doing these instant offers or listing it with, Zillow or Redfin or any of these places. And I also just wanted to mention, Zillow plans on purchasing 5,000 homes a month for the next few years. Isn't that just like, what are you going to do with all that?
I don't think they'll be able to get to those numbers.
Like I said, their end game isn't buying and selling homes, it's capturing leads.
Yeah.
It's building their own database.
And another thing that I will mention is they aren't focusing on the profitability aspect of buying and selling homes.
Exactly.
They're focusing on getting their mortgage, their lending arm to get more attention, and those people will spend more money on their advertisements through Zillow.
The lenders advertise on there a lot heavily. A lot of realtors do also. Do you advertise on Zillow?
I don't. I've never advertised on Zillow, and the main thing about Zillow for me is I see this because I'm studying it now as the team leader at the office, where I have to be informing my agents about what's going on.
Right.
And I'm telling them, I'm like, so think about, for example, Uber, right?
Yeah.
It's been pretty publicly stated that Uber is looking to create driverless cars.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how they have drivers right now who are funding the whole end game of creating driverless cars, just like Zillow has premier agents funding
their buying,
their end game of cutting them out as fiduciaries.
I love this podcast.
That's a real thing. So that's what I'm saying, right? If you are an agent right now and you are listening to this, you need to have a database and you need to have technology that's keeping you in touch with your clients. Otherwise, you are going to lose them to these technology companies and you will become a salaried employee, just like Expedia has done, just like these other travel companies has done, right? Right now, there's a battle between two sides.
Yeah.
It's either you're the agent who's the fiduciary of the transaction and the technology is facilitating your running your business and giving your customer experience, or the technology is the functionary, they're at the center of the transaction and the agent is facilitating the technology in the transaction. So I'll give you an example. I mean, Expedia, right? Let's say you book a trip. Here's the scary part. You probably got a customer service agent who called you and maybe helped you facilitate a few things.
Right.
Do you even remember their name?
No.
But you remember the company, right?
Yeah.
That's what they want.
That's what Zillow's looking to do. I'm telling you, that's the direction. So if you
Flipping the switch,
right? If you don't have the technology to compete, you're gonna be out of business, right? Or you're gonna be an employee. So that's why it's really important. I mean, the travel agents today who still have a business because they've kept the database and they've kept the relationship.
And they have some type of like niche that they're in. A lot of like, especially Miami, like some type of travel to Cuba or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of them are able to stay alive. I actually have a customer I sold a house to. He has like 3 travel agency offices, and he was telling me following up with customers is the biggest
thing,
important thing of his life. Really,
yeah.
He can only pay his bills because of that.
Yeah,
because it's so easy to book a trip online. You Google the rates or do whatever have you.
I mean, it's a real thing, man.
I don't use a travel agent. I use Amex Travel.
Exactly.
Amex Travel doesn't even use Amex anymore. They use Expedia.
Yeah.
So when I show up at a hotel, I'm like Julian Chavez, my name. They're like, oh, you booked through Expedia. I said, no, I booked through American Express. I said, no, American Express booked through Expedia, which booked it for you.
Right. Yeah, no, so that's a real thing, man. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Keller Williams because this is not obviously the setting, but I would say they're coming out right now with some technology that is serious. If you look up on Inman, the Zillow killer, so we're actually rolling out a consumer app that basically gives people a lot more of a personalized experience, because today's consumer, they want that personalized one-to-one experience. I mean, you think about Netflix. You guys have a Netflix account, right?
Of course.
If we all logged into our Netflix accounts right now, are we going to see the same thing?
No.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, maybe.
In total, maybe, right? But not our,
Like
what they want us
recommended
to watch
shows, right.
or what we recently watched. Absolutely
Right, because
not.
what they're doing is, right, the new wave right now of technology is big data and artificial intelligence platforms.
Right.
And what they do is they capture the data, so they see what you recently picked out, right?
Yep.
And then they use artificial intelligence to interpret, okay, what shows would Chris want to see? What shows would Julian want to see?
98% match, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
Amazon too, for example. If you log into Amazon, I mean, we would all see different things based off what we bought because what they're doing, exactly, they're storing data and then the artificial intelligence is interpreting it to give you that customized experience. So Keller Williams is rolling out with something like that with a consumer app, and they've also now created, I wouldn't even call it a CRM because you can do everything through that technology. Which, if anyone would want to find out about it, you could reach out to me, 305-803-0894. Shoot me a text, shoot me a call. I'd be happy to give you a presentation. But that technology is the next level. And you need that today as an agent. If your company isn't supplying you with those tools and you're going out to other companies, you also need to be aware of who's owning that data. I mean, you guys have heard of Boomtown, right?
I have not.
No.
So it's a CRM platform.
Okay.
Do you know who owns Boomtown?
No.
Realtor.com.
Okay. So selling your own data.
So they are. I mean, how would you feel if you're putting a buyer's information into your CRM and it's owned by one of these companies that's looking to take you out as a real estate agent? Right.
It's almost like what Zillow's doing with their agents.
Well, Zillow,
because they provide you a CRM. If you're a premier agent with them, they provide you a CRM. You have all your info.
Right.
And Zillow is connected through Google,
and,
I believe.
Well, we connect the realtors ourselves. We connect Zillow because we have a linkage between Miami Association of Realtors that gives all of our data to Zillow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the big problems that's happened, Well, I won't say a big problem because it's also helped a lot of people, sell properties through Zillow and all sorts of that stuff.
Well, it's a problem for agents.
Right.
Right? It's a problem for agents. And there's two things now that we're going to face down the shift as we wrap up this conversation is technology is changing and the market is going to start slowing down. The last time we had a shift in the market was 2008, 2009. That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Most people in the industry today that are real estate agents never went through a market shift. And in that type of market, it's really skill-based. So if you're not constantly training, role-playing, script practicing, learning what to say, and being consistent in it, it's going to be a tough market for sure.
Right.
Definitely. Yep.
That's super interesting. This has been one of my favorite podcasts. Definitely. We've been getting super deep. We're kind of at the 1 hour mark, so we're gonna end it here. I want to thank Rolando for coming out, man. Appreciate you coming out. We had such a great conversation about the iBuying. We could go on for hours, but hey, we got stuff to do. It's Saturday. Let's enjoy it. Yeah. This is Real Talk. My name is Chris.
Julian.
And I'm Rolando. Thank you guys.
Thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. Have a good day.